Hi guys, it's Professor Fernandez and I'm here to talk a little bit about your second paper, and it's tying the argument to the real world. You may see it called Literary and Real World Analysis. There's not really a title for this, but so much a goal for this paper. So I want to go through this paper with you, and you may see a version of this assignment sheet that's different, but the purpose is the same and the nuts and bolts is the same. It just may be designed a little differently, because this is literally the base design. But I wanted to talk you through this because there's a lot of little things here that you need to pay attention to. And I want to make sure that you understand it so you do really well on your paper. Okay, so first things first, I want you to note that this is due July 12th by 9 a.m. And because it's almost at the door of the final hours of the class, I cannot extend this deadline enough. So either I can't, or enough, that's not wrong. I cannot extend this deadline. So if you don't turn it in by 9 a.m. at 12, you get a 0. That's just all there is to it. Turn it in or don't turn it in. There is no try and there is no middle. Only because I don't have the time to extend this deadline. Right? This is one of those perks ticks of a summer class, like extending deadlines. It's because it's so jam-packed you can't really do it. So the whole purpose of this particular essay is to tie the arguments that you have seen in any of the stories to what's happening in real life. Okay, so that's the whole thing. And really, we're building on the essay that we just finished for the first paper. And if you look at the structure video that I've just completed for you guys, literally it's rendering as we speak, you will see that you really could, if you wanted to, do the 3 of those body paragraphs first and come back and do the other 3 body paragraphs after you do a little bit of research, right? It's not a very heavily researched paper in that it's not a literary essay. It's not a literary analysis, is what I should say. Again, I've said this before. This is not a course where we're doing a literary analysis. We're looking at arguments. And so, while some of the techniques and devices are similar, it goes a little bit more in depth on analysis of argument and how that argument is built. And so this is what this essay does. Okay, so it's 4 to 5 page MLA formatted and cited paper explaining how the argument, which uses 3 of the 4 elements of fiction. And I apologize, I'm editing as I am talking because I'm literally writing it now. Which uses 3 of the 4 of the elements of argument, character, plot, setting, and point of view in one of the stories read during the course was made and how it shows up in the world. Okay, so it's a very long sentence to say, pick 3 of the 4 available elements of argument: character, plot, setting, and point of view. Pick one of the stories that we've read, and I'll talk about stories, what stories are available, and then tell me an argument, and then show me how that shows up in the real world. Literally, that's what this is, right? So you're going to need at least 3 sources, no more than 5 sources. Again, when you see the video of the structure, you'll understand why you may need up to 5 sources in the explanation of the context, right? So the sources will need to be listed in your works cited page and will need to be given credit in your paper in the form of in-text citation. Now, we didn't go in depth with in-text citation and MLA citation as well, but there are videos that I've put in your modules to make sure that it's dusted off, that you dust off the cobwebs if you've learned it, or if you haven't learned it formally, that you can go back and use those videos as reference, and that you can use things as reference. And so you can go back and double check things. Okay. The sources can only come from the Lone Star databases. So don't Google anything. In fact, I will know if you Googled something because I am a nerd and I check sources. Don't believe me, ask my past students. I will literally check your sources. Most especially if it's a good source that I may want to use one day in a future course, I will check the source. So do not Google any sources. You're going to use the databases. And that video should be in your module on how to access the databases and how to use keyword searches. All right, so there you go. Well, here's the thing that you should know. So if I find out that you use Google and didn't use the database, and I will find out, your paper automatically fails for not following directions, right? So this paper is very much a follow directions, not because I'm trying to be a stickler for directions, and I kind of sort of am, but because I've got a lot of papers to move very quickly. And so anything that comes out of following the directions, I'm not going to chase it down or try to reconcile it in any way, shape, or form. That just receives an automatic 0. So please follow the directions. If you have questions, ask the questions. Go to the writing lab. Please, please, please. Because what I hate to happen is that you worked really hard on a paper and you did something that I asked you not to do, and oops, well, it's a 0. And then you get really upset at me, and I will say, well, I told you, here it is. Here it is in the assignment sheet. And there's not really any recourse after that. So please, 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 please follow directions. And it's not, if we had an additional 2 weeks, I would probably be a little bit lenient on it. But again, there's not time. There's no time. There's no time. It's because the 6th week gets cut into 2 days. So there's no time. So for the sources, you're allowed to use news articles and opinion pieces, which is pretty much almost everything you can use. I'm not going to go into what's the difference between a news article and an opinion piece. Again, you can use it. It's fine. But anything like a movie review or a book review, if it reviews a piece of art, don't use it. Like, it's not because I don't think it's good. I don't really think it's usable for this particular assignment. So don't use it. And then summary articles in the databases. Sometimes if you're looking up something like homelessness, it'll give you like a couple of paragraphs or a full page, of homelessness. And it'll talk about it. That is called a primer. It is a page designed to give you like an overview or to catch you up on a subject or topic. That's not really a good article to use either. So summary articles, don't use it. If you have a question of whether something's a summary article or not, you can definitely email me and tell me where in the database it is. Don't copy and paste the link because I won't be able to get back to it that way, because our databases are closed. They're not for the general public per se. They're for literally Lone Star students and community. So if you copy and paste the link and then send it to me, it's not going to bring me back to what you're seeing. You may want to do a screenshot and I can just look at it from the screenshot and tell you, that's not a good thing to use, or it is a good thing to use. So definitely email me on that. And that's okay to email me on that because we really didn't have time to really talk about the summary articles and whatnot. So it's definitely fine to email me on that. Okay, so you're going to list your MLA citations on a separate page. And the citations are essentially like who wrote it, where'd you find it, all that nice stuff, that thing that goes, that's like about that big, right? And you're going to have a couple of sources, right? It said 3 to 5 sources. You're also going to list your story. So if you're using something like Harrison Bergeron is listed plus the 3 articles that you're using, and then any articles that you use for context to explain what's going on in an article. Again, this is in the video of the structure. Then you'll list those as well. It may be possible that you have more than 3 to 5 sources listed, and that's perfectly fine. Just give me a heads up. If you're on source number 4 and it looks like it's gonna come in more sourcey than anticipated, just send me an email and say, Professor Fernandez, this is gonna be more than 5 sources. Is that okay? I'm gonna say, fine, go ahead, do it. Live your best source life. So, but I just give me a heads up that it's coming and I'll be fine. All right. This is something that you do need to know, however, that your works cited has to be in the same file as your paper. That's fancy words to say where your paper is. Like at the end of your paper, hit page break and then write your works cited on that one. Do not turn it in separately, because by turning it in separately, you're not including it in the paper. The MLA citation is not a separate assignment, so it should not be turned in separately. That means that your paper doesn't have an MLA works cited page, which results in a 0, because that if I don't see citations, if I don't see citations from works cited and in-text citations in your paper, that means you got all that information and you plagiarized because you didn't cite it properly, and so it's an automatic 0. Okay, so make sure you are following directions. If you need help, you know that I am here. You know that the writing lab is here. I have put the writing lab flyer in at least 2 modules now, I think. And I'm willing to send it out again just to make sure you guys have what you need. Okay, so let's look at the stories that you are allowed to pick. Here's the thing. If you use the story that you use for your first paper, you're not going to use for your second paper. Okay, so if you used Harrison Bergeron for your first paper, you're not going to use it for this paper. It's going to be you're going to use something else for your second paper. Yes, it would be so much easier just to take the first paper and expand it and look at all the stuff and like fix it. Yes, it would be great, but that is not what I'm measuring here, right? I'm not measuring whether you can correct a paper. I am measuring with the grade. I am measuring whether you can analyze a story and then identify an argument and then tie that argument back to real world circumstances or events. That's what's being measured here. So grabbing the last paper that you did and just expanding it doesn't measure that and doesn't show me that you've learned that, right? So I want to make sure you understand why I'm not allowing you to do that. So here are the stories, right? So essentially all of the stories that we have read, through the semester. I've also included 4 other stories that we haven't read. I am including Spider the Artist. It was included in the first paper. So if you didn't use Spider the Artist last time, you're perfectly okay to use Spider the Artist this time. So I've included 4 other stories that we haven't read and we haven't talked about, mostly because there are some of you who like that challenge and want to be challenged in that way. So I gave you 4 choices to pick from. All of these are really interesting stories, and they play with one of them really plays with point of view, another one plays with setting really well, another one plays with narration, another one plays with like plot. So they're there for you to use, and I've included the links here so you can just click and just go for and read them. But you're welcome to use any of these stories as long as you did not use that story for your first paper. So structure, I will put the structure video that I literally just completed about 5 minutes ago here. I put a link to it here so you can understand the structure. It is should be familiar. It is based on the structure from the first paper. You're just adding 3 more paragraphs, okay? Then the thesis, all right? This is an example of a thesis that you can use for your paper. If you wanted to take this thesis structure and plug and play, literally put in your stuff, go for it. This is an offering to you for this. And if this makes your life a little bit easier to know that this is the thesis and this is how you're going to structure your thesis, then go for it. I want to make that easy for you. I'm going to go through this structure really quickly. It's going to be the name of the piece that you are going to be using. I want you to punctuate it correctly. Again, if you need to go back to a module, I think it was module 1, where there was a visual that says how to write about literature. And it literally says, put quotation marks around the short story, like punctuate it correctly. So you're going to write the name of the short story, punctuate it, and capitalize it correctly. The name of the writer. In this case, it's the last name, because I am assuming that in your intro paragraph, you will write about the author in another capacity, and you've already would have mentioned them in the intro paragraph. So I put last name here. Put last name here as the example. However, if you didn't mention the author at all in your intro paragraph, and this is the first time you're mentioning them in the thesis, then write out their first name. Okay. Again, that is in the How to Write About Literature visual from Module 1. Then you're going to write the 3 things you're going to use to that you will be discussing. And you're going to write them in the order that you're going to be discussing them in the paper. So we have setting, plot, and point of view here. That means the first body paragraph is going to be about setting. The third body paragraph is going to be about plot. And the 5th body paragraph is going to be about point of view. Again, watch the structure video. And then you're going to give me the argument. Module 2 or 3, one of those modules has a visual that tells you how to write an argument statement. Go back. If you haven't seen it, go back. One of the issues with a lot of arguments I've seen is that they are not arguable. And what that means is that if you write a statement and it hits all the things, right? It's 5 to 7 words. It's a full sentence. It's not a fragment. It is not a question, right? If you hit all that, and if you were to say that to a couple people and they all agree, right? If the majority of the people agree, it's not arguable. But if not everyone would agree, maybe some people would agree, but some people won't, maybe like a 50-50 ratio, then it's arguable. All right. So equality isn't the answer to peace, as equity as an argument to Harrison Bergeron makes sense. Right. So there you go. That's the structure of your thesis. And then, of course, MLA. We had some MLA stuff in the module. I have additional MLA stuff here, a bunch of links here. Here's the context to these. These are lessons that I have done in my 1301 classes during the summer or during the fall and spring. So the essay I'm talking about here does not pertain to you, but the building of the works cited page and the in-text citation does, which is why I've included those here. Okay, and that's it. So I wanted to make sure, and this is a really long video, but it's long for a reason. I wanted to make sure that you understood a couple of things. One, kind of what's expected of you from this essay and the goal of this essay and the purpose of this essay. Two, I wanted you to understand, please follow the instructions. Please follow the instructions. Why do we have to do that other than we have to do that in the world anyway? Because I have a short turnaround from the moment you turn in your papers to turning in your grades for the semester. A very, very short turnaround. And I have chosen a date that gives you as much time as possible to do the paper, right? I want to give you as much time as possible, which is not a lot in the summer semesters. And I wanted to make sure that that happened. So in order for me to be able to move through the papers quickly and efficiently and accurately, you need to follow the directions. So if you don't put your MLA Works Cited page in the same file as your paper, that's a 0. If you chose the same story that you chose last time to write about, that's a 0. Like, if you don't follow the directions, you won't even get an email. You will just get a 0 and I will move on. Because I don't have time to push the essay back to you, have you fix it and send it back to me, because the semester ends on the 13th. See how that works? Grades are due like within a hiccup of that day. So that's what I wanted you to understand. Okay? 20 minutes. So sorry it's so long. It was not my intention, but I wanted you to have all the info. Please let me know if you have any questions. My email is open. My office hours are open. I'm here for you. Bye, guys.